Good afternoon, Dr. Bram.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, thank you for joining us in our show, doctor. First of all, can you explain what actually happens in our body during menstruation, especially on women?
So, women actually every month prepare themselves to be pregnant.
Oh.
Now, if they're not pregnant, so the uterus or the womb will shed its lining, its endometrial lining.
Right.
So, menstrual blood is actually a little bit of blood and also a little bit of endometrial or some kind of tissue from the womb.
All right. So, we just talk about this menstruation cycle. Some people get it monthly, but sometimes it comes late or even a bit early than before. So, what's the reason behind that?
So, actually, every month it can be different. As long as it's monthly, so the normal menstrual cycle is around 21 to 35 days from each cycle. So from the first day of menstrual day to the first day of the menstrual for the next month. So it must not differ from 21 to 35 days. If it's less than 21 days, there might be some abnormalities, or if it's more than 35 days, there also might be some abnormalities. If it's less than 21 days, most probably there is some kind of disease or organically, so some kind of fibroid or ovarian cyst. But if it's more than 35 days, most probably it's hormonal imbalance.
Well, Doc, there are actually lots of applications out there in the digital world regarding menstruations, and also there are some apps also can measure the menstrual period. Do you think the apps are accurate?
Okay, so the apps is actually try to measure its menstrual for 1 month. So if you put it correctly, it can predict whether or not the next month you will be on ovulation or not. This is important if you want to do a natural family planning, when it's an ovulation day, and if you want to avoid pregnancy, so you do not do sexual intercourse that day.
Right. So,
But there's also
please continue, Doc. Please continue.
okay. So, but the menstrual must be counted from 3 months before, so that it can predict for the 4th and the 5th and the 6th month.
Right. So, Dr. Bram, this is what my sister and my mother used to do. They used to take like traditional herbs or even jamu during the menstruation period.
Yeah.
Is it helpful?
So it depends. If the condition is pain, some traditional medicine, some, as you say, jamu, have some sort of mild analgesic. So it can it can alleviate the pain.
I see.
So in certain people, it can be helpful. But if the pain is too much, maybe jamu or our traditional herb cannot help.
No wonder when the menstruation period, they were like busy grinding things, right? Kencur and all that stuff,
Yeah.
ginger.
What about other things, though? Is there any other meals or, food that we have to avoid during menstrual period?
So sodas, you said that it believes to be helping on getting
an
off some
enhancer.
of the menstrual blood faster. But it's actually not true. But
It's a myth.
and it can even worse the menstrual pain because sodas can also increase the gastric gas. So you feel bloated most of the time.
Yeah.
Increase the soda and it will get worse.
All right.
But is it safe to exercise during the menstrual phase? Because I know like lots of my friends in our age at the moment, they do exercise regularly every, let's say, every 2 days. And during the period, I'd never seen any of them, stopping even a while. So, is it safe for women with, menstrual cycle to exercise?
Okay, so if you have a healthy lifestyle and do exercise regularly, a normal menstrual cycle usually does not disturb the exercise. But there's some type of exercise that is recommended during the menstrual period, such as yoga and Pilates, and also some kind of body weight exercise.
I see.
Right. So we should continue our physical exercises, although we have that menstrual period. But talking about the pain and also the menstrual syndrome or premenstrual syndrome, doc, such as stomach ache, dizziness, and even nausea. Sometimes what my sister and my mother experienced, it was really, really hurtful and painful. Is it normal? And how can we alleviate the pain?
All right,
Oh,
apparently
Bram.
we're having a connection problem
Yes.
with Dr. Bram at the moment.
Freezes right now.
But
Yeah.
let's say the experience of Rory's
Your mom
mom
and your
and sister, that actually also resonates with me because I grew up with one sister and pretty much not really far-stretched. Okay.
Sorry, before
So,
continuing
welcome
that, I'd like to repeat my question to you, Doc. Sorry, Hans. But,
It's all right.
talking about the pain that some women cannot bear, like dizziness, headache, even like
Nausea.
excruciating pain within stomach.
Yeah.
Is that normal and how can we alleviate that pain?
So for the pain, it must be you must differentiate. If the pain is disturbing your regular activity, such as cooking and then washing clothes or eating or even just daily working, if you are disturbed by the pain, most probably there must be some kind of abnormalities. If it's not, it's just bothering you just a little bit. Some tips that can be done is to do light exercise and then lessen the sugar and the caffeine and also the salt and also sleep 7 to 9 days.
Right.
Hours.
The warm patch of the abdomen can also help.
Right.
Okay, so sleep 7 to 9 hours and also probably
Avoid-
some menstrual patch.
Yeah.
Avoid salt, sugar,
And avoids
caffeine.
baby crying.
and caffeine.
Caffeine, that's
And
right.
caffeine.
It avoids baby crying because it will, drive you crazy.
Yeah.
But doctor, you were saying about abnormalities, and one of the abnormalities that came to my mind is actually the irregular menstrual cycles. Can you explain what causes these kind of abnormalities?
Okay, before we know the irregular one, we must know the normal one, right? So the normal cycle, is if it's from 21 to 35 days, it's intercycle and no bleeding intercycle. And for the bleeding itself, maximal is 8 days. So if it's more than 8 days, it's too much. And the bleeding itself for each day, it's around 80 cc's. 80 cc's is like if you're changing your normal pads 4 times. So if it's different from that pattern, it most probably there's some abnormalities, whether it's mild or if it's big abnormalities.
All right. So you mentioned about a healthy lifestyle to avoid the irregular menstrual cycle. Is there any other thing that we can do to actually avoid that?
Okay. 1 to 2 weeks before menstrual period, before the period itself, you have to do exercise, light exercise, for 2 to 3 times a week. And then less the sugar and the caffeine and the salt, it's very helpful. because the premenstrual syndrome is happened before the menstrual time, not on the menstrual time, right?
Yeah.
So we have to do it before it. And then the third time, and then the third is we sleep regularly. So if we sleep today at 10 o'clock, let's say, then tomorrow and the next day, we have to try to sleep at the same time, so that our hormones won't be so imbalanced. And the fourth is less stress.
Right. I really hate the hormonal imbalances that causes acne,
Oh.
just before you start the menstrual cycle, right?
But doctor, there's actually one thing called polycystic ovary syndrome, which is often linked with adolescence. Can you explain more about this syndrome and what is the cause behind it?
Okay. So on polycystic ovarian syndrome, or it's called PCOS, there is no menstrual pain. But usually, that's why it's called a syndrome. There's changes in the body where the menstrual is lengthened. So you do get your period each from 2 months or 3 months, and you only get one time. And there's also more of androgen hormones, so you will be getting more acne, and also lots of small hair in your arms and a little bit on the chest and also in the back. In this particular condition, the ovulation does not occur. So you do not have a ovulation period at that time.
All right.
It's linked with obesity. So if you are obese, it will happen to you more probably, and also to the genetic condition. So if your mother or your sister have this kind of condition, it can happen to you more easily.
Just a quick question. Some kids get it very early nowadays, like a 10-year-old or even younger than that, have already started showing, little blood, appearing. So what is happening today? Is it because of the food that they consume nowadays are full of hormones, or what is it, Doc?
That is right. So the menarche, or the first menstrual bleeding, it happens due to a lot of reasons. So if you have an increased estrogen hormone in your body, it will happen faster. And also if you do have a stimulation, like mind stimulations, because there are a lot of movies right now where it's an adult. It's supposed to be seen by adult, but it's seen by the little kid.
Yeah.
Right.
Those two kinds can get the menstrual faster.
Right.
And it's not really a good thing, because when you get your first menstrual, so your puberty happens faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also cases where the body height, it's not getting to the normal one, because you do have your menstrual faster.
Right. So, Doc, this discussion is not only intended for women, but also for men to understand
This is the
women
ultimate
even more.
question.
So, this is the ultimate question for you. So, how about men? What should men do to deal with women, or
Don't
identify them when they're having
mess.
PMS? Or is there any medicine
Don't
for
mess with
men?
us.
No, wait, hang on. Is there any medicine for men to be more patient when dealing with women with PMS?
That's a good question.
What should men do?
Okay, so so what can we do as men? Is we must know their cycle. If this is someone that's important to you, you must care
I'll
and do
mark my
take notes
calendar.
whether or not this is
I'll mark my calendar.
On
right.
whose
Type it on
cycle
your
is it?
calendar, whether it is going into your loved one's periods. So if they're getting disturbed or maybe irritated, agitated, so you can be more understanding.
Mark your calendar for your sister's cycle, okay?
I haven't seen her for 2 years, don't worry.
Oh man, all right. Okay, doctor, thank you so much. But before we conclude our talk, I want to ask my fellow hosts here to play a little game. I hope you like the game, guys. Of
course we will.
Myth or fact, all right? As usual, I will read a statement and both Hans and Rory must guess whether it is a myth or a fact?
Yeah.
And Dr. Bram will tell us the correct answer as well as explain it. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Exciting. All right, first question. You should not wash your hair during menstruation. Is it because of laziness? Some people just don't want to do it. All right, it's a myth. Is that right, doctor?
So it is a myth. You can wash your hair during menstruation.
Yeah.
It's even recommended because sometimes when you're too lazy and you do not want to wash your hair, you also do not want to wash your body, and that's why your hygiene is getting lower.
Yeah, it can get even worse. All right, now let's go to the next one. You should avoid cold beverages during menstruation. Myth or fact? Myth and fact? Okay, one says myth and one says fact. How is it, doctor? Which one is the correct one?
It is a myth. You can drink cold beverages during your period. But if you are sensitive to cold, and it can upset your stomach during period, so you can take it less.
I just want to be careful
Yeah.
and don't want to mess
But
more
actually,
with your
you
stomach.
can, yeah?
Yeah,
Not with soda water.
not with soda water. All right, now this is the last one. You should refrain from swimming during menstruation. Is it a myth or a fact? Rory says fact and Hans says myth. Which one is the correct one, doctor? Let's see.
So if you are an avid swimmer and you do swim all the time, you can swim during menstruation. So it is also a myth. But don't forget to wear a tampon or a menstrual cup during swimming. You cannot use a normal pad during swimming because it will be filled up.
Yeah.
So it's 50-50, right?
50-50.
Yeah, it's possible
Probably-
and sometimes it's not possible.
Fact because you're wearing Pampers. Somebody is wearing Pampers.
I lose already, you win already, okay, man?
Yeah.
All right, very, very fun game. Thank you so much, Dr. Bram, one more time. We want to say thanks and also for enlightening us with a lot of facts about menstrual
One of the
cycle.
most important key takeaways that I will mark my calendar. Okay?
Do that.
And I will avoid that date to encounter or to meet with my family members.